ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Danielle and I'm the owner of Damn Fancy Creations and the Drunk Flamingo vinyl. In today's tutorial, we are going to be making this fun, classy Nutcracker Tumbler. If you guys know me, you'll know that I love nutcrackers. I have my own collection and I just love this blue kind of viney pattern, as well as the golds and pinks throughout this pattern. And paired with the chunky silver glitter, I just love it so much. Now, if you guys are new to tumblers, this tutorial should be fairly easy for you guys to follow. We are not going to be using any sort of template, and you can pretty much change up anything on this tumbler to make it your own. Everything you see listed here will be covered in today's tutorial, but don't forget to check the description where I list all items needed to recreate this tumbler, as well as discount codes from my favorite suppliers. So we are going to go ahead and get started, but before we do, make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any upcoming tutorials. All right, y'all, let's get started. Okay, y'all, so I went ahead and prepped a lot of my items. So this tumbler, I applied glitter with the epoxy method and epoxied 2 times over the glitter. If you guys are unfamiliar with the epoxy method, I will go ahead and link a video now so you guys can check it out. So I basically applied epoxy, applied glitter, let it cure, and applied 2 coats of epoxy over the glitter and sanded it really well after that. That's why it looks a little dull. So to get started on the actual design of our tumbler, I am taping off the top and bottom rims just with painter's tape. This way I know that the top and bottom rims are going to be easy or evenly spaced out. So I'm trying to decide how much space I want between the vinyl that I'm going to apply and then the edge of the tumbler. So this is my little piece of vinyl that we're going to be using. I don't think that I actually measured it. All I did was cut right where the nutcrackers would be whole. So this nutcracker pattern is available on my site, thedrunkflamingo.com, and I just cut one little section of nutcrackers out. That way we're not going to have just the heads or the feet of nutcrackers on our tumbler. So now that I have my space correctly, I'm just wrapping that tape around the entire tumbler. And you guys can see a lot of this stuff. I'm just kind of going with the flow. We're just creating something as we go. So the vision that I have in my head may change over time, just kind of putting things together. So the first thing that I'm going to do is add the silver leaf. You guys can see the little container of silver leaf right in the corner of the video, and I'm just going to apply tack it. You can also use a foil adhesive such as the foil adhesive from Artistic Painting Studio or Southern Belle Glitter. I did not have any on hand. I used the last of it, but tack it to me works just as well. I do mix a little bit of water in my tacket just to make it easier to kind of spread on there. Now, if you do dilute it, you may have to do 2 coats. If you guys have never used a foil adhesive or tacket, it is basically an adhesive that stays tacky, hence the name tacket. Basically, you're going to apply a layer of the tacket or foil adhesive on your tumbler and you're going to let it dry. You can tell if it is dry if the substance changes from white to clear. So you guys can kind of see it is white as it's going on my tumbler. If we were applying this on a darker cup, then you would definitely be able to tell that it was white. So you're going to let it dry until it's clear. And when you're applying this adhesive, you want to make sure that you're not, you know, leaving big globs behind, because then it just won't dry correctly and your foil will not go on your tumbler the way that you want it to. So I let it dry and I did another coat and let that dry. And once it's dry, you'll be able to tell if it's kind of tacky or you don't see any white streaks in it anymore. Then I'm just going to take my foil and I'm just applying it to the tumbler. And then I'm taking a stencil brush or a stipple brush, whatever you want to call it. And we're just kind of burnishing that silver foil into the tumbler. And this silver foil, I don't even know where I got it. I think that I got it from one of my friends, Neely, when she was kind of cleaning out her craft room. You do not have to use this exact kind. I think that this is probably the first time I have used it, because if you guys have watched me for a while, usually my go-to colors are gold or rose gold for pretty much anything that I do. So silver is not really something I use a lot of. Anything, silver glitter, silver foil, anything like that. I usually stick with the gold family, but I really, really like how this one turned out. So any silver foil you have should work. I will link some if I can find it on Amazon. So I'm just putting a little bit on my tumbler and then we're just burnishing it in there. And this is not like the foil transfers where you would peel off anything. We're just applying the foil and we're leaving it. You can do a similar thing with mica powders. If you want to switch up the look, you can do the same thing, apply tacket, and then kind of burnish mica powders or even a different glitter into that tacket. But I just love the metallic leafing, the gold, rose gold, and now silver. So I'm just making sure that everything is covered. If you can still feel tacky spots, then just add some more of that silver leaf. So next, I'm going to draw a straight line down my tumbler with my cup cradle from Cami Page Boutique. We do have a discount code for her. You can use code DAMNFANCY and it will save you some money. Other tools from Brooke that I love are the edging tool, the tilted cup cradle, the regular cup cradle, and of course any of her tumbler charms. So we're just removing the tape. Now we're going to peel a little bit of the backing off of our vinyl strip that we cut. And I am going to trim this nutcracker just a little bit. So that looks pretty perfect to me. So I'm just going to cut it off with my paper cutter so that it is a straight line. So now we're going to peel back some of that backing and we're going to apply the vinyl right along that straight line. So this will help get your vinyl straight as you wrap it around your tumbler, and it makes it so much easier to adjust a little bit if you need to. So this is as straight as I think I'm going to get it. So now we're going to use our little vinyl squeegee and just remove the rest of the backing. And I don't know what I'm doing right now. Probably getting out my heat gun maybe, or paint. That's what I was doing. So if you guys know me, you know that I like to try to disguise my seams as well as I can if they're going to be visible. So for this one, I got out a little bit of my black acrylic and then a little bit of this navy blue acrylic and kind of darkened it a little bit. And I am just going to go back and paint a little bit where those vines are, so that they're not so cut off. And I'm just using, I actually think that I got a needle to do this with. I think that this was too big. I think I used a small paintbrush and then like a needle. So I'm just going and painting parts of these vines right where the seam meets. Yep, so see, I switched to a needle because the paintbrush was too big. So I am just kind of drawing the little branches and finishing some of the leaves that may have been cut in half, so that way it doesn't look like there's a seam there. And obviously, if the seam does not bother you guys, don't worry about it. Usually, if I have a decal or tumbler charm or something else going where the seam is, I'm not going to worry about trying to disguise it. But if it's kind of a vinyl wrap around the tumbler, then I just want to try to make it look as nice as I can. So once that paint has dried, I am going to go ahead and go in and add some pinstripes. So I just got out a couple colors and then kind of decided what I was going to use. If you guys did not know, I do have a PinStripe file on thedrunkflamingo.com. It's a digital download that has all of my favorite sizes, which is 0.07, 0.05, and 0.03. And I'll usually just print out all of the sizes and all of the colors. That way I have lots of different sizes and colors to choose from, so I can layer them or just have different sizes on a tumbler, and I don't have to worry about cutting, 3 pinstripes out for each cup. So I'm using this silver pinstripe. This is the thickest size that I use, because I wanted to bring some of that silver down. And I am cutting the pinstripe on the metallic at an angle, and it helps to disguise kind of that, again, the seam a little bit, so it doesn't look like such a straight line. So I'm just going to speed this up a little bit. We're just doing the same thing. We're just applying pinstripes right along that vinyl edge. I just love adding pinstripes because to me it finishes the look. So it kind of brings everything together. It's also a good way to pick up other colors that are on the tumbler, whether it's the vinyl or the glitter. So we are just outlining all of our little sections, and I think I decided to outline everything in silver. And I just loved how this cup was turning out. It just reminded me of a winter wonderland that was kind of coming together. I think 2 years ago, I did another tumbler, kind of like the snowy town below, and then a moon with Santa's sleigh that I used the same glitter on. And I know that I did a blue and silver one that I really liked how it turned out. I should probably do more silver tumblers because I do really like them. It's just not typically a color that I reach for. I usually gravitate towards the more kind of neutral tumblers or neutral colors, so neutral color vinyl, or kind of like the golds and whites, or pinks and rose golds. Those are usually my go-to colors that I gravitate towards. And for the silver leaf sections, I did use a smaller pinstripe. So they weren't quite as thick as the pinstripes that were outlining the nutcrackers. So now that we have our silver on, we are going to add some more pinstripes. And I honestly just eyeball this. I don't put anything down, a spacer or anything. If you work slow, you should be able to get it pretty straight. But if you feel more comfortable adding a spacer piece of vinyl or striping tape, you can definitely do that. And for this pinstripe, I opted for the light pink to help pick up the light pink that was in one of the Nutcracker's jackets. So the little guy, you can kind of see him now. So he has a little pink jacket. So I wanted to bring those colors out as well. So one more pink one, and then I believe that I did some white pinstripes. I wish that I had a navy vinyl. That would have been perfect. But I do not have any navy pinstripes. So I just opted to go with the white to kind of add just a clean line. And this, I think, is my smallest size, which is the 0.03. It is super tiny. It just looks like a little piece of string. So we're just slowly wrapping it around. So you guys can see, I'm trying to decide if I want to add another one somewhere or not. I don't think that I did. Now, I will say that if you guys are worried about your pinstripes lifting under epoxy, right now you can add a layer of UV resin either to your entire cup or just to the ends of your pinstripes where those pinstripes meet. And that will help prevent them from lifting under epoxy because they're already going to be held down from that resin. This one I did not do. I think that I got out my heat gun and just applied a little heat to the pinstripes and the vinyl, which helped keep everything down when I epoxied it. So now what I'm going to do is add a thin piece of just the navy vinyl. This is the same vinyl that I used for my Nutcracker sleeve that tutorial released last week. And I had to cut it a couple of times to get it as thin as I needed it. It was a little too thick. So this was perfect. I think it was only about 1 inch wide. So I am not going to draw on this silver leaf like I did for the first one. This one is pretty small, so it's pretty manageable to get straight. I'm just kind of moving it over as I go. And once I think that I've got it as straight as I am going to get it, I will just wrap it around the tumbler. And I'm kind of keeping an eye on the pink pinstripes just to make sure that there's the same space between the top and the bottom. So that just kind of helps you keep it centered. And then I'm going to cut a little bit off. So here I'm kind of going in between the vines. So that way I'm not just cutting a vine in half. And then if you still need to go touch up or complete one of the little floral elements with your navy acrylic paint to make it appear more seamless, then you can do that as well. So same thing for the bottom. I'm just putting it right in between those pink pinstripes, and then I'm trimming. You guys can see I'm just kind of following those vines and cutting around them. And then I'm grabbing my paint and my little pin again, and I'm just kind of completing some of those vines just to make it look seamless. So this little leaf was cut in half, so we're just completing that little leaf. And then the same thing for the bottom section. We're just completing leaves if they were kind of cut off. So a super easy way to kind of complete your design. So the next step is to take this outside and we're going to epoxy. So I'm going to use Flynn Sisters Fast Cure. If you guys have not tried this epoxy, I definitely suggest it. I tried it for the first time when I was teaching at Mad Glitter and I really like it. It's a thick epoxy. We do have a discount code, so you guys can use Damn Fancy and it will save you money off of her website. So my video did cut out, so I did not get to epoxy the Nutcracker Tumbler on this video, but basically I just apply epoxy to my tumbler and then I wipe from bottom to top to get rid of any globs. So I will apply 2 coats of epoxy. I will pop all of my bubbles with my torch, and then your tumbler will be complete. And I just love how this turned out. It's so classy, and I love the little nutcrackers and their little pink pants and jackets. If you guys grabbed this pattern, I know this was in one of my flop boxes. Please post what you guys make with it. I love to see what inspires you guys and what y'all come up with my patterns. Thanks for watching, y'all. If you enjoyed this tutorial or learned something new, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to catch the next video coming up that was picked just for you. As always, if you're looking for more tips, tricks, or tutorials, be sure to check out my tutorial group on Facebook or the Drunk Flamingo. Both are linked in the description. Thanks for watching.